this is the beginning of Module 1. Module 1 is on listening and listening skills. Good listening is fundamental, a fundamental quality in forming good relationships, wherever you are. So whether it's in the context of friendships or family or the workplace, or as in this case, in the context of a spiritual conversation course, good listening just gives us skills and the ability to draw people together and to for people to find the best in themselves. So you could say that good listening is a life skill, and it's certainly a beautiful gift to give to anyone that you come across and meet up with. I'm going to just share a little bit of what this... Oh, did you see that? No. Yeah, no. Oh, what happened to it? Oh, we're having a bad day today. Hang on, I'll try that again. I have an idea. I went and closed it down. No, it's still there. Share screen. Share screen. Yeah, you got it this time. Yes. Okay. So the things that we're going to explore in this module fall into these three areas. What are the elements that are present in a conversation when you feel really listened to? Noticing what those elements are. What is it that makes you feel really listened to? What is the lasting effect of being listened to well? How do you feel after a conversation in which you've been listened to well? And what is the what's the spin-off from that? What follows up after that? And then we will offer you tools for good listening and the opportunity to practice those tools. So very simple module about getting in touch and becoming more aware of listening and listening well. And we'll start that just now by showing you a couple of clips. And the idea is that you will, first of all, just observe them. And then afterwards, we're going to ask you what you noticed as the characteristics of that particular short session of listening. Okay, so I'll put up the first one, and then we'll stop and think about what characteristics of listening you notice there, and then we'll put up the second one. I think there are lots of gremlins in this in this machine at the moment. So I had this all up, ready and waiting, and it's disappeared. So I'll have to find it again.
No sound.
There's no sound, Alison.
Alison's no sound.
No sound. Okay, sorry. Okay. Okay. Right.
Hello, Steve.
Hello.
Hello, it's good to see you today.
Good to see you too.
Yeah. So what have you been up to? Oh, before you answer that, I'm going to light the candle because we all know that everybody likes a candle.
I do like a good candle.
Oh, so I can't get it done. I'll just forget about it. No, it's all right. Just leave it.
That's all right. I think.
Okay, all right.
It's quite stiff, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe you're right to
It's a
give it
bit
up.
rubbish.
Oh, there we go.
All right. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, as I said, it's good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
And are you feeling chatty today?
I'm feeling quite chatty
Because
today.
last time you were pretty quiet, but it looks like you're a bit more go-get-em today. Anyway, what you want to talk about? You can talk about work? I know you like to talk about your work.
Oh,
sometimes.
yeah, I can do. I hadn't really thought about work. Work's been fine.
Oh, good. I'm glad it's been fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's never perfect.
Uh-huh.
You know, you have to work with people, so nothing's ever perfect when you're working with people.
What sort of things are difficult working with people?
Customers are always awkward and they're asking for stuff that you weren't prepared for.
Why? Why are they so awkward?
I don't know. They just seem to just want stuff that we say what we do, and that they come in and ask for other stuff. So it's, we've got to keep them happy.
You just hate it when they do that, don't you?
Well, yeah, maybe not in front of them, but we have a little rant room out the back.
Oh, okay. So tell me some of the things you've been ranting about in your rant room then.
Well, I have my own rant room as well. So we have two rant rooms. So my own one, I've been ranting about some of the staff as well.
The staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's back to working with people again, isn't it?
Well, tell me some more.
So I've got one who I guess
there's always one.
There is always one. I've got one who I can't decide whether they.
Oh, do you feel the heat in here?
It is a bit warm in here actually.
Yeah.
There's a lot of heat coming off that candle, I think.
Okay. Anyway, sorry.
Where was I? So I've got one. I can't decide whether they can't do the job or won't do the job, but it's a bit of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because ultimately, are we all right?
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay. The customers pay for they pay for a service. Well, the good ones do. They pay for a service, and this person doesn't really provide the service.
So they're not providing a service. Have you thought about going to your manager about this and talking to them about it?
Oh, they're not interested.
Yeah.
No, they're just.
That's the way with managers too sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, they're rubbish.
Oh, you've got to laugh.
You do have to laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is ridiculous, but times I've cut to run actually.
Oh, right, okay.
So sorry about that, but hold that thought because it's really interesting. I'd like to hear why you do what you do and why it's a problem. It's really interesting.
Okay.
But maybe next time, we can carry on.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so Bernadette, are you going to take a bit of feedback? Is that right?
You can get past your own laughter. What are you noticing about that brief video, that session?
I'm glad Lorraine's not my tutor.
I should stress it is a role play.
Yeah.
A huge thank you to Lorraine for playing a part there.
I thought your acting was brilliant, Laurie. But I picked up on just all your distractions, your with the temperature, the candle from the beginning. You're looking at your time, your watch. Disinterested. I thought you were a bit disinterested in what he was saying, and had an idea of what you thought he was saying, and sometimes colluding with them about the people. People can be difficult, and managers are difficult, and telling him, okay, let's talk about your work, and constantly interrupting him.
So distractions, interruptions, colluding. Do you want to say a little bit more about collusion? What do you mean by that?
Well, just when he's talking about how, people are difficult, colleagues or customers, and I get it. People, they can be so difficult at times that, so in agreement with him, rather than giving him the space to, well, what's going on there? What's happening? So in agreement, without really knowing all the facts, I think.
Mm-hmm. So in effect, it becoming another rant room.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rona.
I think for me, there was judgment that came through a number of things. So in the colluding, there was judgment. In the beginning, it was, oh, you weren't chatty last time. Are you feeling chatty this time? That's just, for me, not a way to invite somebody to be themselves in your presence, because you've judged them by those words. I think I found that quite uninviting. And then I noticed all the interruptions and distractions, but actually I just felt the listener, role modeled because it's role play, really well how they paid attention to their own needs above the needs of the speaker. Because that's what leads to interruptions, distraction, colluding. They're present to themselves and where they're at and the fact that they need to go. They're not present to the other person and where that person's at and where they need to go in the conversation.
So the listener filling the space with their own needs, their judgments, their opinions. Thank you, Liz.
We've never really found out what Steve wanted to talk about.
So in filling that space, there's no space left for the speaker. Thank you.
And it was very rushed from the beginning. I experienced, it's like this, hurry up, get on with it, sit down. I'm going to give you our agenda. But what also struck me is as bad as an accompaniment to listener, how Lorraine was in that video. There was rushed, hurried, disconnected, still listening, because she mirrored back a lot of the exact words that he said. And I thought, well, if this is a person starting out, there is potential to at least...
That's very generous of you, Cherie.
To at least hear, which gave me hope.
So we can use some of the skills, but if we use them badly, it's not at all part of that collusion. Andrew, you have your hand up.
Firstly, I just want to apologise. I seem to be having an issue with my camera. It keeps flashing every time I put it on, so I've turned it off because I don't want to distract anyone. But I thought that just from the very beginning, the room wasn't set up properly, and that kind of led to a lot of other things happening. I thought they were actually, this might just be me, but I thought they were sitting too close to each other to feel comfortable as well.
So a lack of welcome in that basic hospitality.
Yeah, and then it got to a point where it seemed as if she wanted to just gossip and hear all the bad things that were happening, rather than letting the person, even if they did want to share that, get to that themselves. They were almost probing to find out more.
Yeah, the gossip factor. Yeah, well noticed, Andrew. Thank you. Mark.
Was caught by the body language of the one listening. She keeps on moving, and it seems that she's not interested. She's looking at her watch. So if I am the one who is talking, I that will be the I might interpret it as she's disinterested.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
So to have somebody fiddling and fidgeting would make you feel unwelcome, uncomfortable. Thank you. Linda?
Yes, it's about the type of questions. I heard that for the first question she asked, you talk about working. I know you want to talk about working. It seems that we assume the clients what's going want to talk, or we do not have the choice for the clients to talk about it. And then she asked there's a kind of questions that why do you do it, and why is your problems, and why for I think for the we when we use the word why, it will lead the peoples to the head questions and not the question from her heart.
Thank you, Linda. So that why question takes them back into their head and thinking, and the assumptions that kind of, I know what it is you're about to say, so therefore sort of leading the person into what the subject matter should be about, not least referring back to a past session. So thank you for that. Jim.
Bernadette, the body language, he was very closed from the very beginning and kind of not picking up on that. Again, that's guest preparation with the room and everything. But Loren's own body language, arm crossed across the body, gives that, you know, subconscious, unconscious thing that you are protecting, and just not an openness to let the person feel comfortable and welcome. Again, just a little thing.
So kind of introducing physical barriers, protectiveness. Yeah. Thanks, Jim. Esther.
Just even asking random questions that were not personal at all, like asking why are customers difficult? Well, you know, that doesn't take him into his own experience or anything. It was just a speculation about things of life which didn't lead the client into reflection on his own journey.
Thank you. Helena.
For me, the statement "you've got to laugh" was kind of like a sort of ringing the death knell, really. And he agreed with that, but it was a false lightness. It wasn't the light of God shining into a situation to help clear something so that other things could come through. And it really, I think, betrayed the very surface level of that interaction.
So these are the kind of conversations that you might be familiar with?
Is that a question to me or to the group?
Just generally, just a sort of cultural conversation. Gosh, you're all very exalted circles. Carefully. Let's move on.
Yeah, okay. So let's look at take two.
No sound.
No sound again.
No sound.
Okay. Okay.
Here's a seat over here, Steve. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
How have things been?
Pretty good, actually. Everything's going really well. I think there's only one thing that's been causing any problems that's coming up this last week. It's a work thing. So I've got somebody who's not performing so well, and I've got to help them understand why they're not performing so well and motivate them to do it. And that can be a really positive thing, but ultimately, if they don't do it, then I'll have to discipline them, which isn't quite so positive. So I'm quite nervous about starting that process because I don't know where it'll go.
So you say you're nervous about starting that process. What other feelings are coming to you?
I'm feeling quite uncomfortable. Yeah, it's that because it's their life. And also I really don't like conflict, so I don't want to go to work to have conflict either. So quite uncomfortable about it.
Could you fill me in a bit more about the background?
So they're on the sales team, and basically the way we work with our customers is we give them a lot of information and help them make an informed decision when they first come to us. And so it takes a while to make a first purchase. And some people coming from other sales backgrounds want to make lots of purchases, so they don't want to take time over it, and this person's like that. But unfortunately, that's not the way that we work, because fast purchases mean they come to us, they buy something, they go away, and they don't necessarily come back. And we want them to come back because of that relationship. So I've got to convince them that their old way of working isn't the way we work, where they are right now. And it can be difficult for them to see that.
So it sounds like the way that they're working is making you feel nervous and uncomfortable.
It's the effect of it, because the way they're working isn't right, and we've realised that, and now it's my job to do something about it.
What do you want for this person?
Surface level, I want them to happily engage in the process of becoming the person we need them to be at work. And I'd like them to be happy. If they're really happy in the job, they're going to be good at their job as well, plus they're going to be happy, their life will be better. So that would be the simplest thing. I mean, ultimately, if they can't do the job, or they don't want to do the job, I'd like them to be happy in the knowledge that this isn't the right job for them, and happily with me finding a better job for them or a better position for them. So happy in all its senses, I guess.
So you want them to be happy. And where in the work you do are you feeling satisfaction?
Well, when I can help people develop themselves and get better at their jobs, then now I find that very satisfying. And so I've had people in a similar situation. They've come in, they've taken it on board, developed the way they work. I've worked with them, they've got better, and some of them even got promotions as well. And that's very satisfying. That's fantastic. That is, just seeing them move on. That's really nice. So it makes life harder because you've then got to recruit somebody else. But I'd much rather do it that way. It's great. I feel very satisfied.
So there's really satisfying aspects to your work.
Yes.
So you've talked about this just for a short time, this particular situation. How are you feeling now?
A little bit less uncomfortable, actually. I think, just saying it out loud, I realised that actually, this has worked in the past. It might not work, but it has worked in the past. So it definitely can work, and most of the outcomes are positive. And only, the only bit that I rather than worrying about the whole thing, I just need to worry about a little bit of it. So how do I make that first approach to them? So I've got less. It's made it more specific what I need to think about, what I need to prepare for.
Okay. So what's that like to be in that situation now?
Oh, it's I feel a lot calmer. It's quite calming.
Calmer.
Yeah, rather than having all this stuff, I've now got this thing to concentrate on, and I know I can deal with that. So yeah, I feel much calmer, and quite positive actually, because I've remembered how I've done in the past and how satisfying that's been. So there's a potentially really satisfying outcome for this as well. So yeah, that's really good as well.
Well, we will need to wind up quite soon. Is there anything else particular you'd like to speak about this morning?
No, I think from that conversation, I'm going to take this thing away that I'm not worrying about so much, and I'm really happy with that.
Well, thank you for sharing, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, anybody notice anything different about this 5-minute snatch of a conversation? Yolanda.
The difference is I noticed she asked a lot of questions about her feelings and that it helped the persons to explore her inner experience, especially the feelings. And then I think it's a kind of reflecting, helping ask the fitting back the person, how did he feel or how he experienced how he experienced, but to express in his emotions or in his feeling. And then her tone and then the speech is different from the previous one. She's very calm and soft and then slow, and then it make me feel that she is fully present to listen. And then so that her because the way she speak and the tone, it help the person to open himself and then feel more comfortable to touch his feeling and then to share with the person.
Okay, so focused on his feelings and with a very calm, sort of gentler approach, allowed him time to explore what his interior feelings were about. Thank you. Mark?
Yes, I noticed that she called the man by name, and if I'm the one who is in the shoes of the person, the man, I will feel honored. The presence of the man was acknowledged, and I also her questioning also allowed the person Steve to be present with his feelings, to be present with where he is now. And my attention was also caught by her body language, which is more relaxed. The tone of her voice made Steve to become more open, to become more at home in their session.
Mm-hmm. So very present to the person in the now, and the use of his name. Yeah, acknowledging his presence. Thank you, Mark. Sarah.
I think I realized that there was something there about pace in the conversation. So there's the welcome, there's a chance for him to feel comfortable, and then there was that time to reflect. So because her speech was slower, he had time to think what his feelings were and to get that sense of the fact over those 5 minutes. I know it was quite quick, but he suddenly realized he'd been in this situation before. So she was giving him the opportunity to not just reflect on his feelings, but explore possibilities as well.
Mm-hmm. So slowing the whole conversation down.
Yeah.
unlike the first video, rushing through lots of questions. Just the pace of it is very different.
Yeah, and I know that silence sometimes is uncomfortable, but actually, if you do pause, then sometimes, you know, that's helpful to a person to get that chance to think, because people think at different speeds.
Mm. And both clips are the same length of time. So it's interesting that the pace in 5 minutes is very different from the pace in another. Thank you.
I noticed off the bat that she had prepared the space for him. So the candle was lit. So he didn't have to start his session solving her problem. So that was lovely. And there was a stillness in the body, in her body, which I think added to a sense of relaxing. He could relax because her body was relaxed, and made her more present. And there seemed to be a lot more eye-to-eye contact. So the body language was really completely different.
So the hospitality in place and the body language still and present. Thank you, Cherie. Helena?
She thanked him at the end, which again is about receiving him as a gift and making that conversation feel special and important. And again, putting the other first, you know, to receive from someone else is a humility, isn't it? And that gratitude seemed to express that.
So the listener putting themselves to one side. Yeah. Thank you. Esther.
I noticed that just in inviting him to be in the moment with his emotions, he actually moved quite a long way in a very short space of time, and was much more, you know, really had reframed things, seen things quite differently, and was much calmer in a really short space of time.
Thank you. Is it okay to move on from there?
Liz has her hand up, and then we'll move on.
I
Sorry, Liz, I didn't see that.
That's fine. I thought it was really helpful that when the listener did speak, they used the speaker's words and then prompted with an open question. So you mentioned feeling this, what other feelings? That sort of thing. And at the closure, a summary in their words of where they were now, and do you want to say anything else? So the closure was gentle. She actually gave him a heads up. Time's nearly up, but is there anything else?
So the powering, just going a little bit deeper, waiting in a place and then taking a risk to go one more step further. Yeah. Thank you, Liz.
So thank you everyone for that reflection and observation that you have made for both the clips, and I hope it's a gentle and interesting way of just beginning to get in touch with what we do when we're listening, and what we absolutely know is helpful, and when we see it marked there, what we absolutely see is unhelpful. So just before lunch, we're going to look at a little bit about Zoom etiquette. Is that fair, Karen? Just for a few minutes, and then it'll be lunchtime. You're mute, Karen.
Sorry. Right. Okay. Thinking about so that we all get the best out of it. Obviously, one person to one device in one room goes without saying, but try to sit up if you can with the device fixed. So, it prevents us getting seasick, but also it means that you get the best view and you don't get a double chin, which is even better. Try to make sure that you've not got a window behind you, but the window is in front of you. If the light is on your face, there's a much better view. If the light is behind you, it's really hard for everybody to see. You need to have a good, stable internet connection. And if it's not good and it keeps dropping, then you may need to move closer to the router, wherever that is. You need to ensure a private, undisturbed environment. Make sure you're in a room with the door closed so that you can give the session your full attention. Recording or downloading the transcripts from triads or from anything else is not acceptable. If anybody doesn't understand what that means, we can talk about it later, but it's just a reminder that that's not okay. Timekeeping, we will make sure there are regular breaks and you'll have that virtual coffee room that you can talk to each other in. Try to make sure that you're back on time. Remember, we can see everything in the background, so just be conscious of what's behind you. In terms of online practice, we've already talked about the view. You have a choice of two views, gallery or speaker. So when somebody is speaking, if you click on speaker view, you will be able to see them full screen. When you want to see the whole group, click on gallery view. If you're on an iPad, it will mean just sliding the screen across. Video toggles on and off at this sign. Obviously, try and keep your video on most of the time so we can see who's around. Audio, try and keep it muted unless you're invited to speak, otherwise the sounds conflict. Using hand up to request to speak is much easier, and the reason is that it's easier for us to see. It also means that your picture moves to the top left-hand side of the screen, so it's easier for us to pick up. If you're waving in the picture, it's much harder for us to know. And if you just start speaking, we can't see who's speaking. If you keep your hand up whilst you speak and then take it down at the end, then you will stay in the same place. Otherwise, you move around the screen. And then use the chat, which is at the bottom of the screen, for questions or invited responses, or if you need to speak to one of us throughout the thing. I think that was all. But if there are any questions about that, please let us know. But if those people who've got light behind them, a window behind, or a window even with some blinds behind is very bright, try to move your camera so it's facing a wall during lunch. And if you're having problem finding the hands up or any of the other things, you may need to log off during the lunch break, update Zoom, and then log back on again for the next session, and everything will come clear, hopefully. Anything unclear? No.
Or you can wait to do all that last bit until after today, so you've got a bit longer to do it. We don't lose you entirely.
Yes. Depends how good you are with IT.
Could I just ask, when you put your hand up, can you keep the hand sign so that you stay in the top left of everyone's screen? Because just in that last session, people were suddenly disappearing. So I was having to find you amongst 24, 25 faces. So just to keep your hand up while you're talking, and then if it comes down at the end, there's just a natural progression of speakers, and we all know where to find you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so lunchtime now. We've got half an hour, so until 1:30. And if you'd be back then, and at 1:30, our director at the Ignatian Spirituality Centre is coming in for a few minutes just to say hello. Okay, and then we'll move on with our programme. Okay, then, enjoy.
Thank you.
Am I still here?
You are still here, yes.
I just had a little message to say I've been signed out.
Right.
So I'm wondering if somebody else is trying to get in on this.
Oh, You're still recording.
Oh, right, yeah. I'll pause it.
Thank you. So, as Alison just said, I'm going to talk about the course handbook and some of the sheets that we'll be using during the course. And as well as this being recorded, I've also got this typed out on a document. So I'll ask this document to be put up on our website too, so that you can look at it afterwards. So you don't have to sit and scribble all sorts of information if you don't want to. So much of the information that you need to help you through the course can be found in the course handbook, which you've already had a good look at, I'm sure. You'll no doubt look at the book many times over the course of the year and become quite familiar with it. But if at any time you can't find an answer to what you're looking for, do go to your tutor. He'll be very happy to help you. So I'm going to today just highlight a few areas of the handbook. And I'll share the handbook on the screen. So let's just get that up. Here we are. So this is at page 5 of the handbook, basic course information. Here you can see the dates and times for all our weekend meetings and when each of our modules will be covered. All the modules take 2 months to cover, except module 3 on Ignatian discernment, which takes 3 months or 3 weekends. And the various ways of learning that the course offers are described in the handbook. It's important to notice that we believe it's necessary to attend, if at all possible, at least 90% of the course sessions to satisfactorily complete the course. So you'll obviously need to miss sessions when you're unwell or when there are serious problems in your family life, and just let your tutor know in advance of the weekend if you can, if that's possible. If you do need to miss a session, you'll find some of these materials, some of the weekend materials on the website as videos, as copies of the videos, or as documents. And you can always contact other course members to get updates. As well as just the attendance, another major part of your learning does take place in the triads. And triads will be talked about in more detail tomorrow. But briefly, the way triads are organized is in small groups with confidentiality upheld. One participant will be a speaker and will speak about a subject that you've all been asked to prepare in advance. One participant is a listener who will listen to what is being said and respond to the speaker using the spiritual conversation skills that you'll all be learning. And one or more of the participants will be observers. So you'll all have a chance to do all roles throughout the year. And to grow in the practice of spiritual conversation, we believe you should be a listener at least 8 times on 8 occasions throughout the year. So keep a note of how often you're being a listener. And if you feel you're falling behind, next time there's a chance, just volunteer to be a listener on that occasion. There's a sheet you can fill in for your own use when you're an observer in a triad, and it's on page 20. So let me see if I can get that up. Page 20. That's it, yes. So print this out if you wish to, and use it to make notes during a triad when you're an observer. But it's just purely for your own use, and it doesn't need to be submitted to your tutor. So at the end, when you're finished with it, please destroy it, and that helps us maintain confidentiality. Each month, you will be asked to read articles and complete a reflective reading review for just one of these articles. And there are pro forma sheets on filling out reflective reading reviews, and they're on page 16 and 17. So here's 17 and here's 16. So there's two different ways of doing it, a reflective reading review. After you've read your articles, just pick one article that you want to concentrate on and either fill out this sheet, which is all text, and write just 2 or 3 sentences in each section. And we really do say just 2 or 3 sentences. You don't need to write more than that. Or if you prefer, you can do your reflective reading review by perhaps using images, poetry, what else have I got here? Images and poetry. Yeah, I've lost a place on my papers here. Yeah.
Quotes and colours.
Colours, there we go. Colours, yes, thank you. And quotes. And if you do use quotes or images or text earlier and it's somebody else's words, just say who these originate with. From November onwards, you'll also be asked to send to your tutor written verbatims of parts of spiritual conversations you have with your volunteers. And much more detail will be given to you nearer the time. But the sheet that you fill out is on page 21. And just to say, all these sheets, which here are in a PDF, they will be on the website as Word documents. So they'll be much easier for you to download onto your machine and fill out on your machine. So here's a verbatim extract, and you'll get more details about that nearer the time. At the end of each of the 4 modules, you're asked to submit an essay. Sometimes there's an alternative to writing an essay in text. Sometimes you're asked to write a text essay. And details of all the essays are on pages 12 to 14. Let's try and see where these are. Oops, gone past it. Yeah, so there's, for example, essay 3 on discernment, essay 2. So I'm so sorry if I'm making your eyes go up and down here. So there's details here on all the essays, 1,500 to 1,700 words, and the dates that they're all required on. Occasionally, twice in fact, you're asked to, if you wish, to not write in text, but using again, images, color, a different way of giving your experiences. So if you want to use that for your essay, that's just fine. You will be sent preparation sheets before each month, as you were for this month. And past course participants have found that attending closely to these preparation sheets before the weekend has really helped them get most out of the actual weekend. And it also means that you can contribute more easily on the weekend and also support each other. I think I can take off this. There we go. I can take this off now. In past years, we've also organized study bubbles. And these are groups of participants who meet online once a month, sometimes more often, and discuss whatever they find is helpful for them. Past groups have practiced triads in study bubbles. They've talked about essays, and a few have even gone on holiday together. However, not all participants find study bubbles are helpful, and some don't have the time available to them to take part in them. So this year, we're trialing a process where if you'd like to take part in a study bubble, stay on the screen at the end of today and talk with the other course participants, and between you, organize yourselves into groups of 4, 5 people. And probably any more than 5 or 6 people, you may find it very hard to get times that you're all able to meet. So between 4 and 6 people is maybe ideal to have in a study bubble. So you can organize that at the end of today. Also, people in the past have used WhatsApp groups, and you can organize WhatsApp groups if you wish to. You can find people's email addresses and phone numbers on the participants' information sheet, which will be emailed out to you. And if, when you look at the participants' information sheet and you see there's a mistake with your information, just get in touch with me and I'll correct it, and we can send it out again as a corrected version. So that's actually quite a lot of information and a lot of zooming about on the screen. Would any of the other tutors like to add anything at this moment? And do any of you have any questions just now? You can pop up your hand or wave. Yes, Rona.
Yeah, I just, maybe I missed this because I was fiddling with my dog there. But the website, have you sent information out about how we go on the website and password and stuff so that we can access documents?
No. Yeah, no, not yet. So later on today, I will send you the participants' information sheet, unless anybody contacts me very quickly and says they don't want their information sharing. So please do that by email right now. If you don't, I think I asked you before, and nobody came back and said that they didn't want that sharing. So I will share that sheet with you so that you all have our contact details and each other's. And also, I'll share the password and how to get onto the website. I'm not sure if there's any other things I need to share on that email, but I will do that today, all right? So that you have that available.
Any other questions before we move on? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Laureen. Just